Alright, so today we're just going to do some voiceover and some quick Buddyfight matches I played with Zach. Now, only doing some voiceover work because didn't have the full setup to do mics on the spot. Hopefully next week we'll have that set up. And then footage will be, lav mics. It'll be, what we're actually saying in the gameplay with cuts and such, but I thought, hey, might as well throw this up. The audio wasn't completely, shit. It was good enough. So you'll hear a little bit of it in the background. For those unfamiliar, this is Buddyfight, a now canceled game. So if any of this looks interesting to you, sorry and good luck trying to find it online. But yeah, this game is canceled, but we love it, so we still play it on occasion. Made by Japanese developers. It was printed by Bushiroad for about 6 years? I want to say 6 years. I am playing Godpunk. Now, Godpunk is a very interesting archetype where you manipulate resources a lot. You'll see we keep putting these cards to the side. That's the main resource system of the game. It's called Gauge. It's just pretty generic. If you need to pay a cost, it says Gauge, pay Gauge. But my deck, I specifically give my opponent extra Gauge, and then I spend it for my own stuff. But I also do a lot of other shenanigans. So the guy on the field on the right side, you're going to see me play him a lot over the course of the game, so I'm going to explain him right now. So he's a 1-drop, and when he enters the field, if you have another Godpunk, you get to gain 2 Gauge of your own. Or sorry, you give your opponent 2 Gauge. Forgetting my own damn cards. No. You do gain the 2. God. Okay, I'm high. Finally, you can see. Alright, the real Buddyfight players are crying because they see the Burn Nova up there. But you gain 1 Gauge, your opponent gains 2 Gauge, and you draw a card. Now, the important part of that is that it's not once per turn. So, this deck is set up to try and abuse that man as much as you can. And they have a pretty decent amount of tools that let you pick them up, such as the character I'm playing now, who lets you rest them, pay a Gauge, and then pick up 2 different sized Godpunks from your drop zone. So you just get to keep looping him over and over again. It's fun. Now, what's the point of doing all that? Well, eventually you're trying to dig through your deck and assemble like a certain collection of guys to try and rip cards out of your hand as much as possible. Yeah, this is a discard deck, but most of the discard is either situational, requires you to actually hit your opponent, or is really like costly to cast. So it's not the worst. And Buddyfight is a game where you can operate with like less cards in your hand pretty easily. So I've got like a lot of stuff on my field. You see, got like a little baseball bat in the back there. That's my weapon. You can have 1 weapon equipped in this game. That guy reduces sizes of cards on my field, because normally in Buddyfight you can only have like a total size limit stuff on your field, but my deck is ignoring the shit out of that rule right now. I got a whole squad of dudes on my board. Now, the copies of the chick on my left and right make it that when my opponent's hand size increases outside of drawing, that once per turn, they have to discard a card. So if he draws from an effect, if he searches a card from his deck, if he does anything like that, he has to discard 2 on the spot. I already discard 1 on hit last turn, so he's already down a card. I have a main phase ability on one of my set spells that's going to discard him another card. And finally, I have a cheeky little set spell that's under my right hand right now that makes it so that both of us can't call a certain size of dudes to our center. So I'm discarding all of his stuff, spending all of his resources, forcing him to discard 2 more cards, preventing what he can even play, and that's without me actually even doing any interaction spells yet. So He's feeling it. He's feeling it.
And I'll draw a card.
Now the balance here is that, yeah, you're not pulling this off every match. That's why you have so much draw, so much cycling, so much looping. Very easy to break. Very easy to break with Godpunk.
Search my deck for a card to sink and an item.
Or at least, it's easy for me to break with Godpunk. So Zach, my buddy Zach, is playing Mystic Knights. Mystic Knights, trying to get a bunch of little weenies on the board and then buff them up. Unfortunately, I ripped a significant number of resources, so even though he had like a double search, it's still just like not enough.
That's it. So the monsters can be destroyed or returned by him.
I believe that's good because I do not have enough gauge to play monsters and I have a lot.
Yeah.
It's like we could have searched out, bounced the field spell, gone the full combo, but it's just like, oh, we need to have a Mystic Knight on field. I charged the wrong Mystic Knight.
I had a pretty good opening.
Full combo. It's just like he just interacted with me.
I did
I
stuff.
could have played around that. I could have searched out, played a thing, nice one, then continue my plays. It's been a while since we touched this deck. Go ahead, dude. Pop off.
Wait, I'm going first?
Yeah, I'm going second. This is a blind going second deck.
Well, I mean, you heard the man. He's giving me first again, so second verse, same as the first. Try to discard all of his cards, try to dig for my pieces, and put him as locked down as I can.
Sometimes you're like only control decks in this game.
Yeah, right? It's like this. Thora.
No, Thora's like can't be killed, so therefore I'm control.
So starting off with set spell. So that guy, once per turn, when I force my opponent's gauge to increase, I gain 2 life and draw a card. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you don't have to tap it sideways to show that it's been used, but it's a once per turn. Yeah. So I like to do that anyway, just to show that it's been used. Top Dread Extortion. Your opponent gains a gauge. You tech top 3, 1 to hand, the rest gauge. Once per turn. We've got Buddy Help. Good generic card. 3 gauge. Draw 2 cards. You're gaining so much gauge that it's sometimes the freest thing in the world. Fuck, I don't remember what that's called, but basically I draw 2, my opponent discards 1 of their choice. Once per turn. Nice, see, I got 1 more of the boy. Like I remember, not once per turn. Not a hard once per turn, not a soft once per turn.
I love the flavor text. It's like they knew. Oh, I guess
This is broken.
Is he like punching the computer or something? Oh my god, he's literally slamming like the desk and like the computer.
No, it's an arcade. It's a Japanese arcade. It's telling like Street Fighter.
Yeah. Just educating Zach on what the hell's actually in the card art. He's a zoomer. You'll forgive him for not knowing what a Japanese arcade looks like. Alright. Bingo, 3 in a row. And the next card I'm about to play is going to make the Buddyfight players, the OG Buddyfight players, real happy.
Is that card not banned? 1. Yeah.
Engage.
Yeah, so that card is called Gambit.
Yeah.
That is an old spell that is now limited to 1, whereas a main phase ability, you can return all monsters on your field to your hand. So I pick up all 3 copies of that guy and then immediately replay them. We gain a bunch of gauge, I draw a bunch of cards, and it's off to the races.
I totally called this that I had in my hand first.
Yeah, that's totally never would cheat. That was a sound. Bring your popper.
I think so.
I'm enjoying popper. I enjoy it. I think
Don't spoil tomorrow's video, Zach. Come on. Alright, so that Zeus, you have to put a combination of like 2 cards from either your opponent's field into the drop.
It's a
so,
1-up, and you're slaying how many cards did you exchange?
Dang, poodle.
Yeah, he's the guy who like on hit I can make my opponent discard, but as you see again, I've hit the 1-up Burn Nova again. That was the card that was on top of my graveyard one of the only win conditions in the
Oh, well,
deck,
there you go.
and 2 games in a row, I just
What?
you just hit it. You just put it in the drop zone and you go, well, all right. I guess I'm not winning that way.
Well, it's only the first turn.
But as you can see, I've got it on lock. Hit him, make him discard. But when it's a discard to the gauge, so like it does give them a resource, right? But it's still a less card in the hand.
Draw. I'll choose to not charge. Fuck, it's like, really, I gotta think about the lines here. So we go into that. I get the search, which gives me that one, which is what we need to fucking slam your throat in. So we get those two, assuming it's not engaged, and then we go to that one. We bank off the top, we bin that, and we just fucking get them. Alright.
Thinking through his lines while I clean up my very large gauge. Now, if anything can get through Godpunk, I do think it is Mystic Knights. He did have a pretty healthy amount of gauge, which I wasn't, super happy about. Because Godpunk or Mystic Knights just have like a lot of like 1-for-2s, like +2s, +1s all over the place.
This the hand.
And then they attack so many times that it's like
Discard two.
if they get to combat with all their tools, then you're just done.
These two. Then I'll cast this to choose two.
So since he searched, he had to discard 2. Now he's using the spell he searched to pick up 2, so it's a plus question mark.
I will cast this to get bonus.
And you'll see he's ticking up a die.
I guess ordering.
No, that's not a storm count, but kind of it's a storm count.
Play the penetrate.
Like I said, he buffs up his dudes, and he does it every time he casts a spell, either of a certain type or whatever, depending on the dude. I don't really know. He keeps track of that shit. But basically, each pip is like a +3k to the board. Basically, his numbers won't matter, but he just has to, keep track of it. Because Buddyfight is a numbers versus numbers game, but like a lot of thousands, Japanese-based numbers games, the numbers quickly stop mattering. So he has managed to build a bit of a board, but still only got 4 cards in his hand, and I have all the tools in the world. Now, my hand is very, very fat.
Guess we should have charged and drawn, I guess. I'm gonna be losing right now. He just won't have interaction. Everything has crit. Penetrate. So supposed to crit, penetrate. Can we get him? Like we bricked super heavy, but attack for 3.
Alright. Now we're in the attack step.
Yep.
Easy attack into the center. No qualms about losing losing his loose. Now in later videos we're gonna have like a phone life count or whatever, so it'll be visually easier to track for those of you at home, because I don't know about editing and stuff. Easier to do it analog, But for now, I think you can see the lives well enough, 9 to 8. But Buddyfight's also a game where life really doesn't matter. For that spell I just cast, I can only do it during the attack phase. I can call 2 Godpunks from the drop. So Zeus' call cost, I have to put cards from my opponent's field into the drop, so let me kill his center, and then kill the dude on the side.
Wait, no, I mean, you were still attacking me here the second time, right?
Yeah.
Because this was just in response.
But I did it in response to the attack, so I'm just letting Zach know that I'm still chumping the attack, and he's like, alright, cool. Well, and those 2 cards there are just securing that, yeah, he was not going to kill me. He was not killing me that turn. So a dirty little 2-0, but I figured, hey, We do the
Yeah,
run
I
back.
was just like, you ripping 2 cards out of my hand, ripping Gage from me, and then like, just then continuously bidding cards from field is just like, I guess I don't have an answer when we literally drew the 2 spells that we run 2 of that are once per turn. Variance. Brick.
Alright, so here's a game 3.
This is a hand.
You might have won your first game.
Oftentimes we'll usually just go to a game 3 just for the funsies. I got a shit hand. Casting a raw buddy help and hoping it works is always a very desperate play.
Oh my god, dude, just actually moving down that hill.
Zach zooming as always.
I'll set that neither of us can call size 2 or less to the center.
Off with that.
Go ahead.
A very strong turn 1 for myself. Very strong. And I think it highlights the dichotomy of Godpunk, where sometimes you get an opening hand, you're like, oh, cool, I win. And then other times you get an opening hand, it's like, yeah, no. Alright, next game. You cannot dig out of it, and you're like, alright, that's it. I'm done.
We'll get it. We'll get there. Tap 2 1 missing knights and missing an item. I can engage gain 2 life. This one instance, I will draw 2 cards. I will call on top to buddy call for 1 gauge. So use that one. I will
Zach's just going and going.
Search my deck for a fire spell.
Usual Mystic Knight things.
Bring that to my hand.
Put a full field of sinks and whatever else on board.
You out of gauge too.
Whole bunch of soul. Whole bunch of power.
Each different fire card. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and some of his cards need like unique names and or like a number of fire and drop or whatever too. It's kind of funny how like Mystic Knights in Buddyfight it just like does so many things. It's like got so much going on. It's like a kind of do everything archetype, or some Buddyfight archetypes like really went that way near the end, but they really feel like they just kind of have a little bit of everything.
I meant to call something on top. Don't worry about it.
I
mean, I'm preemptively doing
zooming
this.
past a couple steps. Like a kitty, you don't like women.
Zach already knew he was gonna haul over it anyway, so he just threw it off his field for no reason.
Plus a 6K bonus. Put down here. Draw card. Hey, we drew the gauge spell. Never punished. Same.
No, that's just him on a phone call with his grandma. God, Barry, you a year ago. Just stay down there.
Put the top 2 cards. If it's 3 more different spells, I can add one to my hand that has 3 fire attributes or fire attribute in it. What if I not cast it? Doesn't have fire. I've already casted all of these. Is it have to be a spell? Oh my god, it's my spell. What a garbage card. I guess we'll just future-proof you playing this as well.
Even when he's winning, he has to
That's another 3 instances. I guess it's a 6.
land the out. Like, I'm dead. Just fucking attack already. Holy shit.
Past that, that's another 3 instances.
Yeah, no. Keep ticking up your power when I have no dudes on my field.
Maybe you're shit rocked.
I have 10 life. You do 10 damage.
I will link attack for game. They will lose the penetrate.
There you go.
Cool.
Alright.
Even down the turn, I have the.
2 to 1. I mean, last game shows off the weaknesses of Godpunk, and then you just brick. But yeah.
That's not